Hello and welcome to The Hindu. I'm TCA Sharad Raghavan, the Economics and Business Editor. Now, during the ongoing session of Parliament, the government submitted to the Lok Sabha and got approval for the first supplementary demand for grants, which basically is Parliament's approval for the government to spend an additional rupees 41,455 crore. The government also sought and received approval to reprioritize around 90,812 crore of spending from some areas, which will then be reprioritized to some other areas. So first of all, what are supplementary demands for grants? Every budget is presented in February and lays out the plan for the government spending in the financial year that will start in April of that year. So this means that the government relies on a fair bit of estimation when it comes up with its numbers in the February budget. But once about 8 or 9 months of the financial year are done, the government is in a much better state to have an accurate idea of how much it's going to spend in the year. So in December, it submits what is known as a supplementary demand for grants if it needs more money. In the past, governments have proposed first, second, and even third supplementary demands. However, in her speech in Parliament this time around, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the government is going to stick to one supplementary demand and at the maximum, if the need is absolutely essential, then a second one. So how much extra money has the government sought approval for this time around? The first supplementary demand for grants is for rupees 41,455 crore. Of this, about 45% or rupees 18,525 crore is due to increased spending on fertilizer subsidies. Ms. Sitharaman argued that the good monsoon has meant that there's been increased sowing by farmers, and so these farmers have needed more fertilizers. In order to make this available to them and at subsidized prices, the government has been importing more and so needs to hike the budget in this regard. Another big ticket item is rupees 9,473 crore for compensation to public sector oil marketing companies for under-recoveries in domestic LPG, as well as development action plans for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes conducted by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. These under-recoveries are because the international price of natural gas is higher than at what these companies sell to the public. So basically, state-run oil marketing companies are making losses on LPG because the government is keeping the selling price lower. So the government then, of course, needs to compensate them because these are still companies and they need to answer to their shareholders. Now, in addition to this rupees 41,455 crore number, the government has also sought permission for a sum of 90,812 crore of spending. This, however, is not extra spending. Over these 8 to 9 months of the financial year, the government has found that it is saving money in some areas and so is then redeploying them in areas that need more funds. This does not represent an extra burden on the taxpayer. But on that note, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching.